cheaper of the year, and I think they're Danny's local. Some water.
What? A lot of leftover food.
Feedback from that.
There you go, right?
That's a good, just to be on my own versus just
Right.
basically like.
Between the three of us, or just between Taylor and I, that you think we should definitely.
Yeah, they sort of assume that you become the cyclist, but you know. Hey, literally else to win, so it's good. Yeah, I would think it's sort of like the issue between having the name.
Hi, welcome back to Velo News TV. I'm Neil Rogers here at the Taylor Phinney home with, I think, you're the youngest guest we've had on Velo News TV so far. Congratulations. We're sitting in front of the Taylor Phinney shrine here. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Slap you some skin. So a week ago today, you're in Aguas Calientes, Mexico for the World Junior Time Trial Championship. Talk us through the race and then the last week.
Well, the race obviously wasn't super. I mean, it wasn't enjoyable because it hurt a lot. But the benefits definitely have been showing from my effort, and it's nice. It's been a good week.
Yeah. So was that something that you had circled on the calendar all year long? Was the World Championships, or at what point did you start to something that I think I can actually?
It was always like season end goal because there's not much for me to do now road wise, but I didn't specifically train for the course or train for like the weather or anything, but it just worked out really nice because it was at altitude and it wasn't too hot there. And we as Americans had a huge advantage because the Europeans had to come over to our side of the world instead of us going over there. But I mean, it was definitely the big race, but I didn't expect to do as well at all.
Yeah, I mean, you're just turned 17 6 weeks ago, so you're basically at the young end of the junior ranks. This is your first World Junior Championship. Talk to me a little bit about what it's been like in the last week. I mean, the phone calls. I know you had a big party last night. That's what this is. This was all set up for the guests. I mean, how much have things changed? Are you getting phone calls from team directors, and what's it been like?
Well, I've definitely been getting a lot more attention from different sponsors that have sponsored me through teams over the years, which is really, really nice. But I mean, the coolest thing for me to think about after winning this championship is that I get to wear the nice white skin suit all next year.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it's been good.
For people who aren't familiar with your story, I mean, obviously they know the last name, but just some quick stats: height, weight. I know. How tall are you?
6'4" at the moment. Hopefully I stopped growing.
And how much do you weigh?
175.
6'4", 175.
I hope.
I remember I wrote a story about you and your dad for our anniversary issue a few months back, and had written that your wattage in a sprint had been recorded at high 1600s.
Yeah, that's gone up since then. But.
And your average speed for the World Time Trial Championship was almost 28 miles an hour. Is that right?
Yeah, it was like 45 an hour. So translating that into miles per hour, I'm not sure what it is. But.
Yeah, I think that's right. So I mean, that's pretty phenomenal numbers. What's it been like for you? I mean, this is basically your second year of road racing. Last year was your first. Is that right?
Yes.
What's it been like for you to be succeeding as much as you have, and to be beating guys who are established professionals? I mean, I know in some of the local races here, you've been, finishing ahead of not just amateur riders but professionals. And how do people receive that?
I think in some way they understand because of how good my dad was, but it's nice to not just finish those races, but do well in those races and prove myself that I am capable of sticking in those races. And so, I mean, I like having the name, but I also like to prove myself while doing it.
Yeah. So we're going to have a chat a little bit later with you and your dad as well and talk about sort of your entry into racing. But I think it's kind of interesting that in no way were you at all pressured or forced, not forced obviously, but pushed into racing. It was more on your own. You came to your parents and said, hey, I'd like to try this. Talk a little bit about because you were a soccer player at one point, correct?
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about the transition sort of from soccer player, and I know you were over in Europe for your parents have camps they run over there. Was that sort of the launching pad?
Well, I mean, I've ridden all my life during the summer when the soccer season kind of winded down. But I don't know, I just got really sick of soccer after a while. And just was riding a lot that summer when I decided to quit soccer. And we were watching the Tour de France, and I've always liked to watch the Tour de France. It's really cool. And that just got me really motivated. And I met Axel Merckx, who told me that he started cycling after the age of 15 after he'd played soccer for his whole life.
Another rider with a well-known father.
Yeah.
And that was the Tour of 05, is that right?
Probably, yeah. I think so.
Okay.
It was 2 years ago, so
Yeah.
And then, I mean, I met with Jonathan Vaughters. He was staying in the same hotel as we were. And my dad was kind of trying to talk him into getting on the team. And Jonathan was a little bit hesitant, as always, because I've never raced before. But somehow, through connections, through the name, I got on the team. And I was kind of forced to put out the results that I needed to prove myself on the team. And so I just did that, and I enjoyed it, and decided that's what I want to do.
And the 2006 season, I remember, I think you and I were actually in a few races where you had raced as a junior, won the race, went toweled off, changed, and then jumped into the Cat 4 races and ended up in the top 10 there, and just kind of worked your way up Cat 4, Cat 3, and finished the season. Did you finish the season as a 2 last year?
No, I finished the season as a 3, but I didn't want to jump up to the 2s too fast. So I just finished the season and then upgraded for next season. So I started this year as a 2.
As a 2, and worked your way up to the Cat 1, obviously.
Well, I actually haven't upgraded to a Cat 1 yet, but
with the jersey sitting there, they're probably going to take much.
We'll see. I kind of want to win Gila as a 2. Yeah, I got denied of that this year.
Yeah, didn't you tell us about that? Because you won the time trial?
No, I got second in the time trial, but I tied for first overall in a 16-hour in some race, and I tied to the second for first overall, but lost due to a technicality, which could go either way. But it's interesting how they do that.
Yeah, so you want to go back and claim it as your own?
Yeah, that would be nice.
What's it like? I mean, I know that you went to the junior Paris-Roubaix race this year. And was that, school, at the time you were a junior in high school, you'll be a senior, school starts for you tomorrow. But what's it like working with the administration, saying, hey, I need to go to Europe and race Paris-Roubaix while you've got classes? How does that?
Well, junior year is a pretty hectic year. It's like the year for preparation for college. Like, that's what colleges look at most. And so they were not very flexible at all, and kind of didn't help prepare me school-wise for when I got back. So, but at that point I was like, I'm going to the Paris-Roubaix.
Yeah.
I'll be gone for 2 weeks. See ya.
Sure.
And so I didn't mind much, but I got by. But this year, they're a lot more flexible due to the recognition I've gotten from the Daily Camera and stuff about winning this World Championship title. So hopefully this year it'll be better. But this year also I have a lot lighter load than last year.
Well, you're talking about college, but obviously at the same time, you know, being the best in the world at the time trial, especially when you still have another year as a junior. I mean, what are you thinking about in terms of the future? Is college a realistic option for you, or is that something that you maybe just want to set yourself up for down the road and just continue on the racing path?
I'd obviously like to set myself up for it down the road, but it really depends on how next year goes, because next year could go really good, really like a lot better, or it could be a lot worse. And I'd like to go next year to South Africa, where the Worlds are in July, and win this title again, because Fabian Cancellara did that, and he's one of my heroes. But it really depends on how next year goes. But if I would go to college, it would be CU, so I could stay in Boulder and possibly take the spring off for racing.
Sure. Well, you kind of answered my next question, which is, what sort of riders do you look up to, or sort of aspire to be? I mean, obviously you can sprint, obviously you can time trial. At 6'4", 175, I mean, how do you get uphill, and where do you see yourself, sort of what kind of rider do you see yourself turning into?
Well, I've always really liked to watch Boonen race.
Sure.
He's been probably the biggest hero of mine for now. But then I started to watch Fabian Cancellara in the Tour, and when he won that stage, I'm not sure which stage it was, but it was like a sprinting stage,
So
and he just
stage
took
2 or
off.
3, yeah.
Yeah, and when he won the prologue and stuff, I was like, that would be cool to be like that guy.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's more like me, or I mean, Boonen's like me size-wise, but I'm not a pure sprinter like Boonen. But I also would like to be a classics rider too, if I got up to that level. So it's hard to tell, but at the moment, Fabian is the number one.
Mm-hmm. Well, now you have matching jerseys.
Yeah, it's true.
Well, it's funny. I know that Roubaix for you this year was a really tough race. I got the report from your dad.
Yeah.
But maybe you can just kind of summarize your day. I mean, it's obviously a learning experience, a race like that. But for people who aren't familiar with how it went for you, can you sort of give them the synopsis?
Well, even before the cobblestones started, we had about 50K of this one road loop, and in that loop I was involved in a crash where I actually broke part of my bike, so I had to get a bike change. And so I crashed, got a bike change, chased all the way back up to the group just in time for the first cobblestone section to start, which I've been told you always want to start in the front for the cobblestone sections. But as soon as I got in the first cobblestone section, I was involved in another crash. A guy's wheel, he tried to stand up while riding on the cobbles, and his wheel just popped up right in front of mine and swiped my front wheel out. So I found myself in a ditch after that one, but got back up and jumped on the bike and kept going, and was actually feeling pretty good for most of the rest of the race. I was moving up through the cobble sections because there were a lot of little guys that couldn't really handle it and were dropping off the back, and with like 30K to go, I was with the lead group of like 30 riders who were, I mean, I'd bridged up to them and stuff, and I was really, I mean, I felt really good, and I was there with 30K to go, and there's another crash in front of me, and just nothing I could do. We were going like 50K an hour on a road section, and just pitched me into the grass and into another ditch. And by then I was just like, oh man, this hurts.
Wasn't there also a problem with the team car? Didn't the team car went past you?
Well, my coach, I was like laying on the ground, and my coach just zipped by because he thought I was still in the lead group of 30, and I had a flat front tire, and I saw that, and I was just sitting there waiting for him to come, but he never came, and somehow I missed neutral wheel support and all that.
Yeah.
And and then it was basically me, and then nothing, and like a couple couple riders that wanted to finish, but I was like walking down the next section of pave, just kind of teary-eyed.
Dejected, yeah. At some point, the morale takes a hit.
Yeah, and then I had to wait for the many broom wagons that were coming full of riders.
I have a feeling you'll have more opportunities at Roubaix.
Yeah, hopefully I'll do it next year. So I know what to expect now.
So races like Roubaix and obviously the World Championships are racing with the national team. But your trade team as a junior has been the TIA Craft 5280 squad that is sort of underneath the Slipstream team that Jonathan Vaughters runs. I've been asking Vaughters when he's going to sign you to like an 8-year deal. I don't know. I think I have talked to him actually since Worlds, and I know that the team will return next year. I mean, talk a little bit about your the next 12 months. I mean, I know you raced cross last year. Will we see you out at cyclocross again? I think you mentioned something about the track. Will you be back with the TIA Craft team?
Yeah, well, I'll definitely be back as a junior on the TIA Craft team. There's not many junior opportunities out there that's better than that. And I like the guys. I like the coaches. I like Jonathan. And actually my best friend who lives like a block away is on the team too.
Who's that?
Robin Ekman.
Okay.
He's only 15, but he's pretty strong. And but I mean, that's for next year. I'll definitely stay with the junior team. I'm gonna get into doing some track at the moment. I think I could be a decent pursuit rider.
Sure.
And I mean, we'll see. I've got big goals in track, but I kind of want to, get out there and test it out first. But I think cyclocross is a good option, though, in the winter. I think the first Grand Prix is in the end of October, so I've got a while until that starts for me. But that's about it.
So in terms of goals for 2008, Gila, Worlds, anything else big on the horizon?
Well, yeah, there's Gila. It's a minor goal, but definitely would like some redemption. I'll probably just be racing in Europe a lot prior to the games or the Worlds in South Africa. There's a race in Switzerland called the Pays de Vaud, which is actually a race that Fabian Cancellara won back in the day as a junior. So I'd like to do well in that. Race kicked my butt this year, but hopefully next year I can do a little bit better. And then Worlds in middle of July, and then depending on how the track goes, this is just a rough goal, but the Olympics in Beijing would be really cool to go to.
Yeah,
if I could set down a good pursuit time.
All right. Well, we'll definitely be watching. Thanks for the time. We're going to
no problem.
take a stop here and then come back and chat a little bit with you and your dad as well. But congratulations. Thanks for the time.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for watching.